Hello, basketball fans, and welcome back to our Overtime March Madness special. I'm your host, Theodore Fernandez, for the second straight week. We got the same cast back here. We're all excited. Not going to linger. Let's get right into it. Drew Warner, the star kicker for the Cats, take it away. What was the best game from this first weekend of college action?
I got to say the Gonzaga-Georgia State game. I just thought it was a great game. Gonzaga just struggled in the first half, and then against Memphis they did, and then just Chet Holmgren and just Drew Timme, they just took over in the second half. I don't know if Holmgren got the triple-double, but he was close to getting a triple-double with blocks, and they're just both incredible players, and lucky Gonzaga has them. But I just thought just that game there was just showed that any team can win. A 16 seed going up against a 1 seed, it was just any team can win, and that's what's great about March Madness.
Yeah, every single 1 seed struggled mightily at times during the first weekend. We'll be getting into those struggles later. For now, let's toss it over to our resident UNC fan and senior Nick Nicoja. Nick, your Tar Heels were very impressive. What do you think of them?
Yeah, no, they were impressive. Game one, they absolutely destroyed Marquette. They were just hot from the start. Everyone was playing well. But the Baylor game was tough. Like, it was hard to watch as a UNC fan. Come the second half, they were lighting it up the first half. I think that was the most entertaining game of the tournament so far. It had everything going for it. Had the 1 seed, had a huge comeback. It had overtime. It was a crazy game. But thankfully, pulled out on top, had our deeper bench players. They came in, played well towards the end once we lost Manic and Caleb. But it was just, I think that was the best game so far. It was really entertaining and glad we pulled off the win.
Yeah, UNC will look to get back to the Final Four for the first time in a couple of years. Will be very interesting to see if they can. Final guest, we got the face of Warwick Athletics, Coach Sirico. Coach, what were your takeaways from the first weekend?
Listen, I agree with Nick. I thought the best game, there were some great games. Unfortunately, a lot of the games that were great, my team went out on. But I thought the Baylor North Carolina game was a great game. There was great basketball all weekend. If you're a fan of athletics, you had a great weekend for it.
Yeah, it was incredible. These are the 4 best days of the year in my eyes. Those previous 4 days that we saw, incredible basketball. Thankfully, though, the tournament is not over. We have some more action coming up, and we're now going to get right into it. Let's take a pause to overlay graphic here. Take a look at the rules for anyone who doesn't remember. But this round right here is going to be worth 12 points. So for some more context, let's take a look at the scores. First of all, Nick, hats off to you. You're in first place. You nailed 10 of the 16 picks. Very respectable performance. Me and Drew were okay. I came up with 8. Drew, you had 7 out of the 16. And then we get to last place. Coach, what happened to you in this last weekend?
I think you got to consider removing me from my position as athletic director and let Nicosia take over because I was bad. I'm an SEC guy, and they better stick to football. All right?
Yeah.
But the SEC, they might have to get out of the basketball business altogether. So we'll see. We'll see what happens this week.
Coach, that SEC played brutal throughout these first 2 games. They did not look to how they were in the regular season.
They did not show up, Nicosia. I mean, Tennessee, are you kidding me? I just couldn't. What are we doing? So I was disappointing, but I guess I gotta jump on the bandwagon with somebody else at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you got a couple. You got Arkansas still in it. They'll be facing Gonzaga, but that was an atrocious performance. Both them and the Big Ten completely disappointed. It's wild to see that happen. One final note.
What happened to Illinois? I mean, they got one of the best players in the country, and they couldn't get it done. It was incredible.
Man, Houston is an incredible team, and we'll be talking about them some more. That was an incredible performance from the Cougars. Unfortunately, none of us actually earned our upset points. We had everyone here was very high on Vermont. Nick, you had Chattanooga. That was a wild game,
Look,
25 seconds.
I was going with Chattanooga. I thought they were hot, and they really proved they were. They were leading out of all 40 minutes, they were leading 39 minutes and 45 – no, it was 39 minutes and 35 seconds of the game. And Illinois pulled away last second to get that win. I really thought Chattanooga had it. It was really close, but that was an entertaining game for sure.
Yeah, and I thought the same with South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits put up a solid effort but could not pull away. So nobody earned the points there, but there will be another wild card this round, which we'll get to at the conclusion of the show. But for now, let's get into the real action. We're going to start out west, where Gonzaga did not necessarily coast to the Sweet 16, but they did make it. But it was very, very big struggle. Now, Memphis and Georgia State both put up incredible fights. I'm going to let anyone take the baton here. What went wrong for the Zags?
Look, I think I'm going to start this one off. Gonzaga's free throw shooting is horrible. They're one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the tournament right now, shooting I think the first game they were 13 for 24, and the next game I think they're around 50, 60%. They're shooting really bad from the free throw line. They got to set that up. Timmy and Holmgren are playing well. I think the guards need to step up a little bit, but I still think that they're a good team, and this whole region is wide open still.
Yeah, we saw Nemhard finally come through down the stretch of that Memphis game, but it's a real concern. Drew, coach, anything to add?
Yeah, listen, just piggybacking what Nick said. Gonzaga, it's a survive and advance tournament, guys, and they, like Nick said, they didn't play well. They were disappointed, but they survived and they advanced. So you can play poorly and win. That's a sign of a really good team. So I wouldn't bet against them moving forward. Although I am going to later.
Okay. So now we've kind of touched on those issues. We'll toss it over to you, Drew. Can the Zags still make the Final Four?
I'm going to say yes. I just think the first two games that they played, I think it was just really just pressure, just being a one seed and just being a team of their caliber that everyone, I'm sure most people have Gonzaga probably winning championship this year, but who knows? I don't know. I just think the pressure really got to them, just being that championship team, that all the pressure's on them, just losing and I believe it was a championship last year. I just think they were down. They knew it was close games, and then they turned it back on. But I just think the pressure really got to them in 2 games.
All right, Nick, we know you're a UNC fan, so you're obviously very familiar with this Duke team. Can they provide enough of a challenge to send the Zags home early, or Texas Tech for that matter?
Look, I think for sure that Duke can make a run for it. I think any 4 teams out of this whole region it's wide open still. I haven't seen anyone really step up ahead and show that they're the dominant team. Gonzaga struggled. Arkansas is playing well when everyone was betting against them with Vermont to start. I think they're playing well. But all these games have been close. Memphis game was close. Arkansas game was close. Texas Tech just pulled away from Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame had that game in the bag. And then I think Michigan State really put up a hard fight with Duke, so every game to get to the Sweet 16 was close. I think it's wide open, and I still think Gonzaga is going to pull away, though.
All right, Coach, we got a consensus going here. You going to break it up?
I'm going to break it up. I'm going with the coach, man. Coach K, going into his final season. But I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't think it's his final season. I would bet money that he comes back because he just can't stay away. He's going to be like Tom Brady. He's going to get back in this thing, and he loves competing. So I'm going Duke. I'm going to go with Duke in the upset.
All right, you heard it here first. Coach Kagan might run it back for a 41st season. Incredible how long he's been there. You know, we always got to have a take out there. Unfortunately, your Delaware take didn't pan out great. Although I will say the Blue Hens were competitive. But maybe we'll see Coach K again. I wouldn't put it past him. I am going to have to go and agree with Drew and Nick here, though. I love this Gonzaga team. Very big Gonzaga fan here. I was going to throw on a hat or something. Couldn't find it. But Drew Timmy's an incredible player. He dominates the game whenever he wants to. And he'll be enough to get the Zags to New Orleans.
No, yeah, Drew Timmy really showed that he was dominant in the Memphis game. He went on like a 12-0, 13-0 run just by himself. Like, he really just started to take over, and he's the real reason why that team is still in this tournament.
Absolutely incredible. All right, let's keep moving along here and transition into the South region, where didn't go great for most of us. Every single person here had Tennessee advancing, and they didn't. Michigan, of all teams, who Nick, me and you can probably go on for hours about this Michigan team. I don't know how they got in. I don't know how they went on a run. But take a stab at it. What happened to the Wolverines? Or the Wolves, for that matter.
The Wolverines are playing with crazy confidence. They went into this tournament and they really want to show people why they were put into this tournament in the first place. Tennessee, they shot really well the first game, could not get in the hoop the second game to compete with Michigan. The three-point percentage was not high enough, and it really showed. And I really thought Tennessee had it this year. They were a really good team with Kennedy Chandler as a point guard looking really good, but just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, they're playing with some extra energy now, the Wolverines. Drew, anything you want to add here?
No, just piggybacking what everyone else is saying. Just like Michigan's just, I think everyone's been doubting them this whole entire tournament for probably saying that they shouldn't be in this tournament. But I just think they just have the momentum right now and the energy, and I think this will carry forward into this next round.
All right. While you're talking about the next round, go ahead, give us your Final Four pick. Do the Wolverines actually get into the Final Four as an 11?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Villanova beats them, and then I also think Villanova is going to beat Memphis. Sorry, not Memphis, Arizona. So I'm going to pick Villanova here.
All right, Coach, you second that notion?
Listen, I'm not going to fool around with these low seeds. I'm not going that route. I've already been eliminated that way. I am going with Arizona. Let's go with big number 1, getting it done.
Man, Arizona really struggled against TCU. That was a wild game with that.
Theodore, I know you know this, but I'm going to say it to you because I'm 54 years old. I've seen a lot of these tournaments survive and advance.
All right.
Arizona did survive. They advanced. Here we go.
Maybe it brought some energy into it. Nick, could you see the Wildcats heading to the Final Four?
Yeah, for sure. They have probably one of the best players in the country right now with how he's playing. He's playing really well. But I still think the way Houston's playing as a team, they're really showing that everyone was doubting them at the beginning with having them losing first round as being that 12-5 upset. They're really playing well. They're playing as a good team. I think they could take Arizona down. And I think Nova's going to take Michigan down. Nova's also a really good team with that leadership from Colin Gillespie. But I think Houston's got it to the Final Four. I'm going to roll with them, and I think they're looking really good right now.
I absolutely agree with you. I really love this Houston team. Such an incredible program. So great defensively. I was low on Arizona to begin with, so I like Houston. You know, Juwan Howard, he's done a great job of punching some energy into this Wolverines team, but just won't be enough. And Nova, I was actually very high on at the start. Kind of just my view on them, and I think that Houston's the hot team and we'll be able to take them down. All right, halfway through the bracket, moving along nicely. It's out to the Midwest, which most people have been calling one of the more boring, or not boring, for one of the more unpredictable regions. I was looking for the word in this tournament so far. We have 2 double-digit seeds playing in the Sweet 16. Nick, how'd it happen?
I had Iowa State beating LSU, but I didn't have them going any farther than that. But they really showed that they're a good team. They took it to Wisconsin. They shut them down on defense. Even though Wisconsin couldn't put the ball in the hoop, they played great defense, and they really showed they're a good team. I'm high on Miami. I think Miami's a really solid team. Their defense is crazy. The way they could force turnovers and score on transition is insane. I think Isaiah Wong's an awesome player, and I really think they're going to hand it to Iowa State and make it to the next round. But I don't see anyone slowing Kansas down in that side. Like, I think Miami's a great team. Kansas is just looking really good. Even though Providence is hot, Providence is doing really well. Just don't see anyone taking Kansas down, even though Creighton did put in a big fight with only 6 guys.
Yeah, that's the sentiment that most people have come out with. I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't think anyone will be able to get past the Jayhawks. I think Iowa State will be their opponent. We'll have a Big 12 Elite 8 matchup, but Kansas will be there. All right, Coach, they're not quite an SEC university, but they are from that area. Can Miami go to the Final Four?
You know, I want to say Miami because if you're a great player and you have a chance to go to Kansas and deal with that winner, or you got a chance to go to the University of Miami and deal with that situation, most guys would lean towards, or girls would lean towards the University of Miami. But I'm smart enough not to go against Kansas. So I'm going to jump on the bandwagon with the rest of the crew. I will stay with the Kansas pick.
All right, Drew, you're going to break this up here. We all riding with Kansas here.
No, I'm all on Kansas. I agree with everyone here. I think Kansas is the dominant team here, and they probably have one of the easier paths to the Final Four, so I'm going to go Kansas.
Man, no Providence love. I thought they'd get at least a mention from somebody. They absolutely dominated Richmond. I had Richmond in the Sweet 16. That didn't work out great. But let's move on from one Cinderella to another. And I'm sure everyone watching this has been like, okay, when are they going to bring it up? When are they going to bring it up? We've reached that moment. How about the St. Peter's Peacocks? This was absolutely incredible. I'm going to let anyone jump in here. Take the first stab at this team because there's so many storylines. Such a great run from St. Peter's.
Yes, no, St. Peter's is awesome. Kentucky going really far, but them winning that game is crazy. They really put it on Kentucky. They shut down. Well, I wouldn't say shut down, but they took away everybody else and let only Oscar Sheway give them a competition. And Doug Edwards really stepped up and made some really clutch shots. They're looking awesome, and they put it on Murray State too. Murray State. I know you were high on them, Theo, but
yeah, I was.
St. Peter's really put it on them.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And Drew, as someone who's not, we know you're a big college fan, not quite at the level of diehard as me and Nick are, but I'm sure you can appreciate this St. Peter's run. What did you like? What do you see here?
It's just the Cinderella story. I saw on Instagram or Twitter that they had 0 ranked players on their roster. None of them were ranked coming out of high school. So it just shows you what a team can do. It doesn't matter if you're a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, or no star, not really even ranked at all. Just shows you anybody can win in this tournament.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Let's just throw out some numbers here. Their current enrollment, just over 3,300 people. Their basketball budget, under $2 million. For context, Coach Calipari gets paid over $8 million. I mean, no matter what way you slice it, all the numbers are incredible. It's one of the all-time runs. But sometimes a sad fact of the tournament is all runs have to come to an end. Coach, does the run come to an end? Or will we see St. Peter's?
I loved it. I enjoyed watching it. It's what you say to your high school guys and girls. Any day you can go out there and compete with anybody, and they did. They took it to heart. They did a super job. It was a good 2 wins for them in the tournament. Let's leave it at that. I hate to say it, but I think it comes to an end because I'm really feeling good about, well, I'll tell you that later.
Now, go ahead. Go right into it.
Well, listen, I feel great about UCLA. Oh, no, that's okay. Excuse me. I feel great about Kentucky. They're out. I feel great about Baylor. What happened to them? They're watching the tournament on TV now. I feel great about UNC. They're golfing right now, those guys. So I guess in this side, got to go UCLA. That's what we got to do. That's what I think. That's my thoughts.
All right. Some love for California. I think the general takeaway from this whole show, if it has good weather, Coach Sirico will be picking them. Maybe we got to get you a job as an AD down south somewhere. Drew, you going to agree with Coach here?
Yeah, I'm going to go with UCLA. I think they're playing with fire right now, and they are they want the championship after losing in the final last year. So I just think that they have the momentum going forward, and I just think they'll make it to the Final Four here.
All right, 2 picks for the Bruins, a team that I personally am very low on. But before I get into that, Nick, are you going to agree with those 2? Or I think we know who you're picking.
Well, I'm going to go with UNC, but I want to start with the St. Peter's and Purdue matchup. I'm rooting for St. Peter's for sure. I don't think they're going to pull it away, but I really am rooting for them. I want to see how far they can go. Also want an easier matchup for UNC after they pound down UCLA. But I think St. Peter's, they're a good team, but I really don't think they're going to beat Purdue. I think Purdue's an awesome team with Jaden Ivey. But for the UCLA-UNC game, UCLA had a tough matchup with Akron, even though they put it on with St. Mary's. UNC hasn't had a tough matchup yet. They really took it to Marquette, and before Brady Manick got ejected with this flagrant 2 and Caleb Love fouled out, they were hammering it down on Baylor. They were up 25 at one point, and then I think the referees kind of stepped in. Game came a little closer. But I think Brady Manick's America's player right now. Everyone's loving on him. I love him. But I think with all 5, with Leaky, Armando, Brady, Caleb, and RJ, with how RJ played last game, I think UNC is going to come away with this one with how hot they're playing right now.
Yeah, I want to agree with you, but just the way that UNC handled the ball down the stretch, even if it was without Manick, I cannot pick a team that just shows that little poise or composure down the stretch of a game. I think they won't beat UCLA. I kind of said last week that I'm just not high on this team at all. But I think ultimately we will have Purdue in the Final Four. I've been incredibly impressed by what they've done. Jaden Ivey is incredible. Zach Edey is probably just going to be too much for any of these St. Peter's bigs. St. Peter's is a legit team. Over the past month, they've actually been the best defensive team in the nation inside the 3-point arc. No matter what way you slice it, they have talent. I think they'll be somewhat competitive against Purdue. Just won't be enough. We'll see the Boilermakers. So that's going to do it for our coverage of the bracket. But we got one more thing to talk about, and that's going to be upsets. You know, we kind of covered it in the first round. We're going to do the Sweet 16 edition of that because we have 3 double-digit seeds in the tournament, and one of them is guaranteed to win with that Iowa State and Miami matchup. So who's it going to be? Or is it going to be St. Peter's? Coach, take it away.
Love St. Peter's. I would love to see that happen. That would be awesome. Just awesome. But I'm going Iowa State.
Drew, how about you? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna say Miami here.
All right, Nick, I think you kind of alluded that you were picking Miami. Give a little brief explanation into why.
I'm going with Miami just because I think they're the better defensive team. I think they've shown how good their defense is the past 2 games. They really handed it to Auburn, making it really difficult for them. And I think their fast break points and I think their play with Isaiah Wong is just not going to be enough for Iowa State. Even though Iowa State is a good defensive team, I think Miami's just playing really, really well right now. So I think Miami's going to pull away.
Yeah, I've been very impressed by this Iowa State defense. I think they will pull through for one more game and set up that all Big 12 Elite 8 matchup that would be huge for that conference. They've been incredible in this tournament, and I think it will continue. So we have officially made it through our second show here. It was great. We got some great picks. By the way, for anyone still not refreshed on the rules, those picks you just heard, so much riding on them. That's a whole 4 points between Iowa State and Miami. No matter who you slice it, 2 of us are getting 4 points. The other 2 are getting nothing. So much riding there. So that could ultimately decide this whole thing. So before we wrap it up, I'm going to open up the floor again. Anyone have any closing comments, any reflections as we enter the second week of the tournament?
It's been one of the craziest tournaments I've seen with the amount of upsets and how busted the brackets got, how fast they were. So I think this tournament's been awesome and the games have been amazing. Even though I am disappointed there hasn't been a buzzer beater win yet.
Yeah, just saying that.
100% agree with Nick Nicosia on that. 100%. Congratulations, Hubert Davis, who was a good NBA player and a really good person. I'm happy for him and his success.
Yeah, it's been great. There's so much going on, and you can't beat this. This is the best month of the year. These are the best weeks of the year. I love everything about March Madness. I was glued to the TV for probably around 40 hours over the weekend. It's absolutely incredible. And nothing lives up to this. If you're not a basketball fan, you never quite understand it. And if you're on the fence about watching it, just throw it on. You will never regret it. So with that being said, I'm going to go and close the show. For Drew Borner, Nick Nicosia, Coach Sirico, I'm Theodore Fernandez. This has been WVTV's second round of our March Madness Overtime Special.